Alright everyone, today I am going to be making an Ableton tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to make a basic beat that will hopefully get you started on making some of your own music. So I've already downloaded Ableton. As you can tell, this is Live 10 Lite. The drums and stuff that we're going to use, everything's going to be built in to Ableton, so you don't have to download anything or have any special plugins or anything like that. This is generally, I think, what it looks like when you very first download it and you first fire it up. This on the right side here is lessons. These are awesome. It's basically little tutorials that explain exactly everything that I'm going to show you, and then a little more, so that you can get a better understanding of more of the features that it has. I don't need it. I'm going to get rid of it. Down here in the left hand corner you have the info view. Awesome little feature. I like it. I love this. You just hover over stuff if you don't know what it is, and it'll tell you. So I'm hovering over this and it says that it's a track activator, and it's a nice little thing to have. I don't use it so much anymore, but when I first started using Ableton I used that a lot. Let's see. Okay, so now that we've got, now that we got those windows out of the way, and it looks a little easier, it's not as intimidating because you ain't got all this stuff, clustered. First thing you're going to want to do, and I switch devices a lot because I record at different places and I have my own stuff here in my office. So the first thing that I always have to do is go to options, and then I come down here to preferences. And you're going to want to go to, you can look, probably on look and feel. You can change this stuff if you'd like, but we want to focus on the audio tab here. And you want to make sure that this is set to the appropriate driver. So it could be, whatever kind of computer you have might have an Audio driver. You might have an audio interface that has its own driver. You could have a separate sound card, so you would have a separate driver for that. You just want to make sure that that is going to the appropriate driver. So whatever you're wanting to hear out of, if you want to hear out of your headphones, you're going to want to make sure that the driver is pointing to your headphones. Alright, so now we got that out of the way. The first thing we're going to do is delete this second MIDI channel and the two audio channels after it. You just click on those and you press your delete key and get rid of those. So now we're on this first one. And now we want to make drums. Now that everything is cleared out of the way, we want drums. We want a beat. So we're going to click on drums over here in this left hand window. So over here we'll click on the drums, and there's a lot of drums in here, a lot of different packs to pick from. Classic 808s. But we want, the ones I like to start with for most projects are the selector kits. Got selector kits clean, warm. I'm going to go with clean. It really doesn't matter, but a selector kit is great to start with because of its ability. When you get in there, you can switch between different samples. So it's got 256 different kick sounds and then snare sounds. All right, here we go. It's loaded up. Okay, so we're here on this one, this track, and you can come down here and you see it pop up. You can see the kicks, snare, rim. So this is our drum basically our drum set right here. But we don't know what it sounds like. Let's give it a try here. Right now that's what our kick sounds like. Very basic, very dry. Okay, but we can't really make a beat out of this, so now that we have the drum set, we want to go back up here to this first channel. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to double click inside the first box. As you can see, the bottom changed, and this is now, drag this up a little bit so we get a better view of it. Now you've got your drum set right here, and this is a MIDI sequence. Okay, so the first thing I do, and I do this every time, you should do this too. My brother, if he's watching, you should do this. Right over here in the length, right underneath length, it'll say 1. You need to get rid of that 1 and change it to a 4 and hit enter. Okay, now you've got a standard 4x4 timing or signature or whatever it is. I'm not a music theorist, but now you've got your 4/4, and I'll show you later why that is important, because this section over here is going to be the end of your beat, is going to tell you what segment you're on. So now we've got the drum set pulled up, and we've got all the loop space that we need to run a loop, build a loop. Okay. But now you're like, where's my drum kit, man? I'm going to go up here, click on it. No, I can't find it. This is the very important feature to remember. Down here in the right-hand corner, that's how you get back to your... Now we're back to the drum set itself, the effects. This is your, clip, and then this is the effects. So what we want to do is we want to build an actual loop. We want to build a piece of a beat of some kind. The best way to start off on this is to go down here and create, hold on a minute. Okay, so you can double click those in, and what you're looking for is, you see how you've got this gray area, this white area, it's a darker area, a lighter area, darker area, lighter, and you've got 1 and it counts to 4, 2, all the way to 2.4, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4. So you're going to want to put a kick on every whole number here. Every one of those like that will get 1. And then you want to put on the 1, 3, you want to find your snare here. Okay, so there's your snare selector. And we're going to put those on the 1, 3 and the 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3. Just like that. Now if we listen to this, this is just a very, very basic yeah, it's not so much fun. This is just not a lot of fun. So what we need to do is we need to add as a cymbal in there. We need to add as a hat, closed hat. So we're looking for a hi-hat closed. Okay, and you're going to want to put 1 on every single one of these numbered ones. So right on the whole beat, on the 1, the 1.2, the 1.3, the 1.4 beat. Same thing on the 2s. You can double click all of these, which is time consuming and sometimes a pain. Or you can come up here and you can click on this little pencil type of thing. Looks like an L-shaped thing. If you click on that, that enters into draw mode. And now you can single click any box you want. Yeah, and it'll automatically fill it in instead of having to double click it or resize things. We'll turn off draw mode. So now we've got a cymbal in there. So now let's try, let's do it again. And there's a basic beat, right? It's just not very exciting. There's not a lot. It's ultra basic. Excuse me. It's ultra basic. But this would be something that you could use if you were trying to record a guitar. You could use this to, just as a metronome. I know Ableton has a built-in metronome, but I prefer the drums. It's just easier to stay along with. Now this is a very bland beat and it's not a lot of fun. But now you've got all of these spaces with your kicks down here. This is where the magic happens. The kicks and the snares, you don't do that. Most musicians will mix it up. It's not just a standard straight timing like that. So now we'll try throwing in this, well, not that. All right, so now what I want to do is we want to throw in a snare right here. This snare on the very end is important because it lets us know at the end of this little segment that we have now reached a 16 count, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 16. We're at the end of this segment. So and you get the idea. That tells you that, okay, that is the end of a segment, and then you know where the count is in the song. Makes it easier for people to follow. Makes it easier for you. Easier for me. Everybody. So, now that you've got this basic, very, very, very basic beat, there's another thing. You might be thinking, man, that sounds slow, and I don't like it. I don't blame you. I really don't. So what we can do is we can make it go faster, and this is so easy. So easy to do. You go up here, to the left corner up here, there's a number, it'll say 120 or something, 140. If you think it's too slow or too fast, you can click on this and just move up or move down with your mouse, and it'll change the speed. So we'll hit play. This is what we were at, and we'll run it at 120. But it's slow. We want it to go faster, right? So let's go up to, let's say, 140. Sounds a little better at 140. So we'll leave it at 140. Okay, and then well, just real quick, I'll show you, slow it way down too if you want. I like it at 140, but we're gonna put it back. So you can go slow. You can go super fast. Really getting it. Okay. We're gonna rock the 140. I like 140. It's good. Okay, so we got 140, and this is where your beat. This is called BPM. This is beats per minute. So you've got 140 beats per minute. And right now we're only looking at 16 of those beats. But this is in a loop, so it'll loop over. You've seen it already. Okay, so now we want to make the beat just, a little more exciting. Or maybe just a little more exciting. So what we'll do is we're going to take away those two on the end. There's two cymbals there, and we're going to put one of those cymbals up on your crash. We want to find your crash. Might not sound very good, but we're going to find out. And you're going to want to put those two that were here up here. All right, so to add a little crash, let's see what that sounds like. Adds a little bit of something. I don't know if I like it or not. Okay, so that's a pretty basic thing, and there's a lot of other stuff in there that you can use. A lot of other stuff. I'm just showing you some of the classics. All right, so now we want to add a little more to the beat because it's painfully just boring. For lack of a better word, it's painfully boring. So we're going to listen to it and we want to add some stuff in there, but you're like, where do I go? Well, that's what all of these timing notches are for up here. These timing notches are where you can place beats and you know that it's going to be on a count. So you can just test them out. We'll enter draw mode, hit play. And we'll just try one out. We'll just try to put one right here on the 1-2. Okay, see, that makes sense. That works. Try putting it on all of them like that. See what it sounds like. Little heavy, right? So let's take off some of those. Take some of those back out. Off of the 4s. Take them off of the 2s. And the reason I didn't put a kick here is because it's right under the snare, and I don't want to hit the kick and the snare at the same time. You gotta think about it like if you were actually playing a drum set. That doesn't sound too bad though with that kick right there on that 4, the first one, but now we gotta build the rest of these. I kind of like how this first part's going. Let's go with the second part here. Probably repeat it and put something. Ooh yeah, see? This one, putting a kick right here in between these timings. This is technically, what is this called? The upbeat. So putting a kick here is on the upbeat. And that's the reason it still fits on the timing. Put one right here, like a metal roll, you know. You just leave that, yeah. So that, you know, got your square timing here. By putting one in between the numbers, though, you get that kind of hip hop style, I guess. Right? Kind of, it works. So then right here, we could. The end still sounds a little plain, so we'll put one right before it. Just like that, same last one. Sounds nice. I'm going to put another one on the upbeat right here. And then you're thinking, oh, we could do snares and fills. Yeah, you can. So let's cut these off if you wanted to do a quick, simple fill. Okay, you got that. So it says doosh. That's a terrible fill, but you get the idea. Simple beat, very basic. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It works. This is not fancy, but we threw it together real quick. And it doesn't sound too bad. Now we want to name this. We'll just rename it Beat 1 because I don't have a name for it. Beat 1. Now, what you want to do is you want to click on Beat 1 just in the box, not the play button, and you want to hold Control and press D, and you'll duplicate it underneath it. Now we want to click on this one, rename it to beat 2. And then we're going to go into beat 2 by clicking on it. See, now we're in beat 1. Now we're in beat 2. So now we're going to go and we're going to edit beat 2 so that it is a little bit different, I guess. It doesn't really have to be anything special. We're just going to make it a little bit different. We'll put these here, and one before it, one after it. And we'll put that there, and then we'll just put a bunch of like metal stuff there, and add a bunch of closed hats so that put a bunch of closed hats on here so that we can make it just sound completely different from the first one. And we might want to take those snares out. We'll put that one back. And then let's see, that's a lot, but this is the second beat. Completely different beat. Okay, so now what we want to do is we got these 2 beats. You can mess around with playing with these buttons over here to listen to it. Okay, so now we've got these 2 separate beats. We can mix them into an arrangement. But before we do that, this is we're almost to the point where we're creating the beginning of a song. But what we're going to do first is down here in this bottom right hand corner, you have these 2 tabs. The left tab brings you into your clip, which in this case is a MIDI sequencer, this MIDI sequence clip. Then the other tab brings you into the effects, which takes us back to the original drum set that we were at before. Now what we want to do is we want to hit play on the first beat that we made, and then we can come down here to this kick section, and we can change it. This sample macro. You could take this, and it's got, how many does it have? 127. I said 256 earlier, but it's 127. So you've got 100. Let's change the kick to the first one. Totally different sound. Completely different. Heavy sounding. But as you can see, you could go through each one of these and find exactly, well, maybe not exactly what you want, but pretty close. It's going to be pretty close to exactly what you want. It'll be close enough that you can at least get the idea, the musical, you can at least get the idea, holy Lord, at least you can get the idea, recorded in some way. And it'll be pretty close to what you want it to sound like. Lord, I had trouble getting that out. Okay, so now let's say you found a sound that you like. I don't like that one. So we'll just go back. We're going to go back to the very basic stuff. Okay, so we're going to use this kick sound, but now we want to change the shape of it. You can change the shape. You can hear the difference. This one's a low thud. And then when we flip it over the shaper, it adds like a bunch of warble and punchy distortion on it. It's got that bass fuzz where it's almost drowning everything else out. After you find a shape that you You've got your tone. I like the high end on that better than I like the low end. It's good. This one's a very important one, the pitch. Pitch is important. This will immediately change the sound of the kick drum. And this is actually tuning it down, changing the pitch by one step. That'd be like one piano key or one guitar fret that it is actually dropping it by. So you actually can tune each one of these individual drums, each one of them, no matter which one you clip on, they all have the same setup. Okay, so you got your pitch, you're like, all right, this is my sound right here. This is jack this up, move this around. Now you've got these two over here, attack and decay. I like these. It's very helpful on cymbals in particular, but it can be helpful on kicks too. So you got a kick drum that cuts out too long, you know, it's like whoa, 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 whoa from the kick. Well, what this is going to do on your kick, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but this attack is how long before the kick actually makes a sound. Right now the attack is 0, so it's just automatic. But if we trigger it all the way up, we're basically telling it we want to wait 50 milliseconds and then attack. But on 0, we're saying, we want to attack like as soon as you can make the sound. Whenever the MIDI data is there, play it. Okay, you can hear that. Kind of cool, actually. Okay, so now we come over here to this decay, which is how long after do we want to cut it off. So right now it's at like 10 seconds, which is a long time. Okay, let's go up here to see. Now if I put this down, if I put this down at 1 millisecond, you cannot even hear the kick because we're telling it to basically decay 1 millisecond after it makes a sound, which is not good. So now as you go up, you get to hear more and more of the sound. So the decay is about cutting off, you know, if there's a little too much reverb on the end of a sample or something. And it lets you dial in precisely how much, you know, comes after the initial. It's really good for cymbals because there's that initial splash, and then you can kind of cut off the decay so that it doesn't ring out as much. Okay, the last two, these two are a little confusing at first, but trust me, you'll play around with those, and especially with the cymbals, and you'll get the hang of it in no time. The last two are glue and volume. Okay, glue is a tricky one. We'll go ahead and I'll just read you the interpretation here. It just says macro control. Okay, never mind. Okay, so glue, basically what it does is it levels this kick sound with the other instruments in the set. You can hear it. It's difficult to hear it on this one. You can barely hear how it kind of softens it. And what it's doing is this glue will actually balance this sound against the other ones, almost like sidechain compression. And it'll actually mix the sound in so that it fits better with the volumes and glue of the other instruments. So if we were to put some glue on the snare, go to the snare here. You can change these around too. get to that in just a second. Put some glue on this thing. Hear that? It just now it's got this big pop on it, and then you can go to the decay down here if you wanted, and maybe you're like, this is too much. Too much, right? So you're gonna cut that decay down. So now see, that decay works really good on the snare because it takes away that extra splash kind of on the end of it. That's gone. But that's what glue does. It mixes everything in there and allows these different pieces of the drum set to actually just fit together better in the mix. Okay, and then I think volume's pretty obvious. You know, volume, make it louder, or make it, you know, nothing. Also, I guess I didn't mention, if you double click on these, like you turn it to whatever or change this to whatever, but you're like, I just want to start over. You just double click on them and you'll go back to what it was on default. Very helpful. Now you've got these other macros over here. And this is basically like your EQ. You've got low gain, mid frequencies, high gain. And this is going to affect all the whole drum set, not individual drums. This is going to affect the entire drum set. So you can go through that and play with that on your own. That's a little more advanced. Okay, so you've got these, and then you've got your MIDI data. You've got the first beat, you've got the second beat. Okay, but now you don't really like the shape of this. Everything's hard to find in here. Well, you can move these around too. So you can click and drag this snare right over here where the rim is. Now your MIDI data is switched though. See? Because you want the snare next to the kick. Well, right now, all your MIDI data is still in the same spot. So we'll just drag, put that down, and now it's on our snare track here. So once you get your drum set and everything organized and figured out, then you'll have, you know, it'll be right there. You'll know it very well. It'll be easier for you to find. You can put it in alphabetical order if you want. Totally up to you. Whatever makes it easier for you to handle it. Okay, so now you've got the very basics, and we made a couple of drum beats. These are super simple beats. We used the selector kit. Again, this is already in Ableton Live 10 as far as I know. Using the selector kit, you can get pretty close to the sound that you want. You know, being able to move these around is great, having all that set up. So now you've made your basic beat, and you can put these, we go up here into the right corner, you got these two hamburger buttons. One's up and down, and then the ones that are left and right. Right now we're in the clip view, and this top one will take you into the arrangement view. Okay, so we're going to go back to the clip view, and we're going to take the first beat, beat 1, we're going to drag it over to that clip there, and we're going to bring it in, drop it right at the beginning. Okay, and then we're going to bring beat 2 over. We're going to drop it right in. Okay, and then we're going to see this little orange square up here with the play button. When we click that, we're telling Ableton that we want to switch over to this view to hear audio and not this one anymore. We want to hear this one. Okay, so you want to hit your stop button twice, so it'll take you back to the beginning, hit play. Ooh, Oop, looks like we forgot to switch our MIDI data over. Okay, because we switched our drum kit around. So on beat 2, our drum kit is now with the snare next to the kicks. So now we go back over here, but we didn't switch this MIDI data over. So now we put this down to the snare. Now that that's fixed, okay, we go back over here, but this one isn't fixed because this is in arrangement view. In arrangement view, it thinks, well, you're trying to make the song. So if you want it this way for just this one section, then we'll leave it that way. So you got to get rid of that. We'll drag in the second beat again, line it up there. We'll tap stop, hit play. And then now you have 2 segments of beats. Now we have one last thing to go over. Yeah, I was gonna say that was about it, but we got one last thing. We got one last thing that we gotta go over, and that is to save your drum kit, right? Because you don't want to build your drum set and then you spend all that time building a nice sound. You got the drums sounding the way you want, everything, and then the next thing you know, you can't open Ableton or something. So we're gonna just go over real quick how to save this whole setup here, so the next time you come in, you can just drop in your custom drum kit that you've created from this, and you won't have to worry about redoing this every time you open a new project, because this won't be saved if you open a new project, not yet anyways. So now what we're going to do to save this is you want to go right up here. It doesn't matter which one of these you clicked on, but right up here there's a little like disc shaped button, little old floppy drive button, and if you click on this little arrow down here and get that info view back up, you'll see it says save preset. Now you can click on that and it will save the preset. Okay, and you have to have your user library connected. Okay, if you do not have your user library in the paths, it will not be there and you cannot save this. So real quick, what I did for this project, I'll go to options, go to preferences, okay, and then you're going to go down here to file and folder. Right in here, am I in the right spot? No. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to library. Yes. Okay, you want to go to library. Once you get to the library section, okay, this is where you're going to see the little section here that says location of user library. And it might say something like not available or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it says whenever you don't have one selected. But all you got to do is click on the browse button, go to wherever it is, okay, that you want. All right, go to wherever you want. And like I did here, all you got to do is right click, go to new folder. I made a user library / drums. I just wanted to for this spot in my folder. I just want this one to be for drum presets. So I put -drums. You click on the folder, select the folder. I'm not going to select it because, well, I can. Doesn't matter. So I select the folder. And now it has my user library. So when you go and you click on Save Now, it should pop up just like this one did. Selector Kit Clean. You can rename it to whatever you want. Depend whatever your project you're working on. If it's, a kit for an album or something, just name, the kit for the album. but it is a, and then the next time that you come in, okay, let's say you come into a new project, we'll put another MIDI track up here. Okay, if you didn't see how I did that, you right click, then you can add another MIDI track. So I got another drum track here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this data, well, I'll just use one of my last one I saved there. Just take move this down, duplicate this one. Okay, so now if you open a new project, right, and you want to use your kit, your drum kit that you set up and you worked on and you put a lot of time into it, you want to use that drum kit. So now I got this brand new project. You have to imagine that one's in a new project. All you got to do is come here to your user library. Okay, you come into your presets, instruments, drum rack. Click, hold it, drag that puppy over here right onto the MIDI channel that you want it on, and drop it in there. And there it is. Now you have the kit same as you had it before. This is my kit. I chose 23. You can see none of the settings are like what we just saved. Okay, this is what the kick looks like on this one. I changed, oh, this is one of the ones that I was playing around with. So let's see what the beat sounds like with the original one. Okay, so then here's what the one sounds like with the drum set that I've kind of played with. Ooh. Oh, because of the MIDI data, remember? Okay, so we got to change up the MIDI data. Let me change that up real quick because my drum set is set up differently. There. So now we'll listen to it with this. Okay, doesn't sound much better either way, but it's a basic beat, and anytime that you want to use that same kit, this is just a test kit, but anytime that you want to use that kit or, you know, mess around with it and change some stuff up, you can load it in just like I showed, edit some stuff, do what you do, and then you can just save it as a new preset if you want, or overwrite this old preset, and then you saved your drum set. You save your project. If you want to keep making music, you definitely want to save the project. So we'll go ahead and save this live set real quick as, hold on, let me get to where I need to be. Real quick, save this live project as something. I'm gonna name it. Oh yeah, you guys can't see that, can you? Let's save the live project as the Ableton Tutorials. Okay, so we'll put this as Ableton Tutorials project. Ableton Tutorials project, so we're gonna save that. Whichever folder you choose to save it in, you can save it on your desktop if you want. Okay, so now that you've got the save the project, you know how to save your drums. You can customize them a little bit. Quite a bit actually, compared to how it was before. I just had a bunch of different samples. We went through and listened to all of them, and you had to just kind of splice them and cut them all up so that they fit. It was challenging. This is so much easier. You can build a beat super fast this way, and you shouldn't lose any of your data because everything is built straight in. Anytime you load it up, all of your sounds, everything that you customized will be there. Hope this helps. I really do. I hope it helps somebody make a beat, man. I hope it does get better. I mean, if you made it this far, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what I didn't do or did do. You know, and just have fun with it, man. All right, thanks, guys.